Hey, good morning, you guys. Excuse me. Welcome back to the channel, Drawing with Michael. I am, of course, Michael. Today, I'm trying out a new camera to see if I'm going to use it, excuse me, in my drawing. It's a DSLR. But today, we're going to start the morning warm-up for you guys, as I know you guys like the warm-up. I always like doing faces for warm-up because it's easy, it's quick, it's really enjoyable, to say the least, and it has the potential to really add, some fun to your day. So if you guys notice, I started out with a circle, and now I'm basically just blocking in the shapes. I use a Col Erase, either red or blue line pencil, primarily because I've been using these forever, but that's not really a reason to use something. I utilize these pencils because they don't smear, they can erase, and whenever you put, whether it's a black line or some other type of element, or not element, some other type of inking line on your drawing, the red, if you're going to put flesh tone in there, obviously there's reds and flesh tones. The same with blue, and whenever you go to erase them, they erase really well, and I think it adds to the overall feeling of sketchiness of the drawing. And you guys know I love my sketchiness. So I'm just doing a really quick side profile. So I started a new job recently. You guys know that I'm a full-time freelancer, and that doesn't stop. I'm still full-time freelance. But now I am a adjunct professor at the local college here where I live for illustration. I've really been enjoying it. It's a different group of guys and gals, as opposed to what I was teaching before, which had to do with high school and middle school. But I really enjoy it. Whoops! I broke my red line! Don't fret. Typically a warm-up, I like to do a warm-up every day, you guys know that. And I don't like my warm-up to go too long, just because I want to get started on the day. See, I'm already having an issue. I need my black, that's what it's called, it's an extender. But I don't have it because I think I left it at the school. I was doing a demo last week. So recently on social media, I posted a project that I was part of. If you go check my Instagram out, you can see what it was. It's for a very popular event over at Universal Studios. Alright. Faces like this it's not really something character design wise that I'll be utilizing, but I just enjoy doing faces and figuring out the nuances of faces, and obviously the nose is a little bit too big, but I do like it. Today's video is not going to be too long. I've got so much work, it's borderline ludicrous, which I guess is a good thing, especially as an artist in today's world. But yeah, so I'm sculpting out the character how I want. You guys know that I do 3D sculpting as well. Especially recently, I've been doing a lot of it. It's not really my favorite thing to do. This is drawing. 3D sculpting requires a different set of brain muscles. Requires you to think a little bit different. And in my case, because, I'm so used to doing things a certain way, it's causing me to use different aspects of my brain. So whenever you do something like this, a figure, a head, there's this phrase that I use whenever I teach. It's called thinking three-dimensionally. And, I have another video on here which is really popular. It's my drawing using the construction method. It's actually my most popular video that I've done on YouTube. And it has to do with thinking in terms of, 3 dimensions. So if I was, thinking of a circle, or I'm sorry, a sphere, I have to always remember, the sphere, and you've seen this before in different artist drawings. They draw these construction lines to help them realize that this object is a sphere and it has form. Okay? So obviously we're drawing on a flat surface. So, the disconnect comes when whenever we know 3 dimensions, we know it has, height, it has width, and then of course it has depth. But whenever you go to draw, that disconnect happens, and you're still thinking in 3 dimensions, but you're starting to draw on 2 dimensions, so you start fighting the whole process. But if you think in 3 dimensions, you always realize that, the object you're drawing has a top, it has a bottom, it has a side, it has a back from the other side, here's the bottom. And if a light source hits this is going to be the brightest part. And you've seen these spheres before, I'm sure, right? And then you have the cast shadow that goes like this. Well, the same happens basically whenever you start drawing a face. So you have this base right here, okay? And you saw me do it over on this side. Not so much the 3D, sphere, because I'm drawing a profile, but whenever you do something like this, you start basically sculpting around the start sculpting around the object that you drew, the circle, sphere, right? And whenever you're drawing something like this, it's like you always have to think in terms of 3 dimensions. Because you have the height, you have the width, but also you have the depth. And there's that 3rd dimension. Because it wraps around, this hair wraps around, right? These eyes wrap around because this is a curved surface right here. All this is curved, right? And then you have these planes. The eye goes in, it comes out, and here's the cheek, and it comes towards you. So all of these things that you're doing and thinking about whenever you're drawing, thinking 3-dimensionally, help whenever you do character design. Here's his brow that comes up right here. The shadows. What I'm thinking now is I'm thinking, you have that bone that's right here, right? You have this ocular cavity, which the eye lives in. Here, we'll just draw a skull underneath. So let me draw I'm going to use a different color here, if you don't mind, so you guys can see a little bit better. So here's the ocular cavity. Here's the bone underneath, right? Here's the skull that comes up, and it comes around. Here's the midway. So it's going to come all the way around. So I need to adjust that a little bit. the hair needs to come back a little bit, like right to there. Okay, here's the nose. It comes like this, right? And here's the jawline. Like I said, here's that cheekbone. It comes like this. And it comes like this. And the teeth, they basically come down, and they're all embedded into the here's the lower part of the teeth, and then it splits like so. Here's that jaw. Okay, and we're going to come back a little bit because that's a little bit too far forward. And this bone comes like this, goes like this. This comes up a little bit further. So you can start to see that underlying structure, even though there are issues with this, obviously, because I just did it on the fly, I didn't really think about it. And then you have, this comes around. You got this bone, right? Comes here, and then you got the shoulder that comes down, and here's the clavicle. Anyway, so basically what I wanted to show you was there's an underlying structure that you have to always be mindful of whenever you're drawing stuff like this. I see it all the time in the fact that, students, here, let's go up here, it goes like this. Students really don't know or understand, anatomy and how anatomy works. And basically what you're doing is you're putting on a shell onto this inner structure, and then whenever you do the muscles, let's say here is the eye right here. If you guys can still see that, I don't know. I'm not looking at the camera. So all this muscle right here is attached, right? So if he raises his eyebrow, okay, like here's his eyebrow muscle. It's big, right? It comes up. So it's going to affect stuff up here, right? I always like to do, you have your circle like this. I always like to do that because I know that muscle goes all the way up here. So it's going to go, and there's, of course it's hidden by the hair right here. So then, we come over to an exaggerated face, and this still applies in the exaggerated face, right? Drawing I'm going to draw maybe an older man, okay, and not so strong, sloping. And there's different characteristics about different body types, and obviously different ages and stuff like that. But the underlying structure, you always want to recall and remember that there is, a skeletal system under here. The older you get, your skin loses its elasticity and its ability to bounce back. So that's what happens. All of these muscles right here start drooping, and everything kind of falls down. The neck falls, and all the cheekbone, or not the cheekbones, but the cheeks fall. The skeleton doesn't really change, except for the fact maybe you have arthritis or osteoporosis, so you might have the posture goes this way, the shoulders might go up, but generally speaking the skeleton stays relatively the same. And basically what I'm doing now is just I'm roughing in the shapes for the eyeballs, and so he's kind of Gonna droop to him right here. And then we have this goes down, down, and okay. And that upper lip, instead of being taut like this on the younger person, now since he's lost his teeth, even though this bone is here, he doesn't have the teeth to push out that lip. So we're just going to barely bring that around. Right? And we're going to have some wrinkles here, here, here. Right? And there's some rules whenever you're drawing faces. Faces head on, faces to the side, and even whenever you go so far as to do a caricatured face like this, you have to always kind of follow the rules, because if you don't, the people looking at your drawing will know. Even though this is a longer face, right, it's longer, there are certain things that you have to remember, you know, like the ears, the top of the ear, being in line. You can make the ear bigger. You know, of course, there's not really a lot of rules whenever it comes to cartooning and caricatured faces. Here's that muscle that comes down right here. So I'm not going to define that jaw, because this person is quite a bit older, and I'm going to have the, you know, the lines that go right here, and you have that little pooch that comes out here. A weaker chin. And you have some of these wrinkles that come around. Here, we're going to draw that a little bit closer in, like that. And then you have these, since this person has had a lifetime, maybe the age lines are really defined up here. You know, just old. And the hair still looks good. You know, but quite a bit older than this particular character on the right. You know, maybe the jaw comes out just a little bit, just a defined jaw. You know, even that line, look how much that line made this character look younger. So let's erase that and watch. Wow. It always never ceases to amaze me, just the little details. Have a collar that comes around. You know, I'm not looking to do illustration with these drawings, you guys. These are warm-ups. You know, I really put a huge focus. Yeah, we're going to have this down like that. I put a huge focus in my classroom of drawing every day. And you know, I'm not looking to have a complete finished illustration every day. That's ludicrous. You know, I am looking, though, to see that, you know, that you're doing something. Here, we're going to have this come up here like this. And that nose comes down like that. You know, and it keeps your hand attached to your arm. It keeps your, you know, your brain and your eyeballs, because it's all a symbiotic relationship whenever you're drawing. You know, and it's just one of those deals where you have to practice every single day. I have to practice every single day. And I know it's hard. I mean, obviously, if I'm on vacation, I don't, you know, really, I don't want to say I don't have the time. Depends on what we're doing as a family. But I literally try to do something almost every day. I mean, that sounds, even if it's like 15 minutes. So, and then, you know, if I want to come back, I've got my, I left my pens at school. Oh, no. No, that's a weak pen. I've got so many drawing utensils and pens. Ooh, that's a nice one. Ooh, that's really nice. Look at that. You see that? You can see that? That's pretty cool, huh? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, you know, I can go back in. I just start having fun. And I'm inking, you know, just very simple. I mean, I'm not getting in there and doing anything major. You know, I don't want to render, quote unquote, render this. And what's great about pens like this is you can get a really defined, nice thin line, and then you can get a really broad line. And what that does is it gives you variation of line weight. And whenever you have that in your drawing, it adds to the effect of giving it form and life, and it implies light and shadow without even putting any value in. It is great. Give them some old eyelashes here. Okay, have that eye go around. Some wrinkles come up here. Shadow come around. I have my students that ask me, how to do hair and all the, the details that we put into our drawings. And my advice is typically the same. I treat hair as a form. Early on in my career, I was really bent on, drawing every single hair, and it was frustrating. Because hair, whenever you look at it, has the potential to be very complex. But if you would look at it in terms of a form, then it simplifies things, right? It's like whenever I worked over here, I just made a nice shape. And the same thing here. Now I can go back and I can start drawing in individual hairs. But for this particular exercise, I don't need to do that, especially if I'm doing like a cartoony style, which is what this is, right? There we go. Also, one of the things that I tell the students is don't go it alone, right? What does that mean? It means if you have a passion for drawing, then start absorbing pretty much everything that you see, from different artists to movies. Start compiling your mental your mental book in your brain to help you when you do stuff like this, right? So I might give him a couple little spots here and there because maybe he's got some sun damage. Start looking. If you're going to do somebody old, look at pictures of old people. I know that sounds weird, but try and figure out how that's going to help you in some way. It always makes me laugh, especially whenever I start doing teaching, and a student will do this incredible. They'll start on an incredible piece, and then they'll stop, and didn't push it to where it needed to be to really come out with a fantastic piece of artwork. So I'm always constantly saying, push the pose, push your values. If you get confused, stop for a moment, go take a walk, and come back to it with fresh eyes. See, I know exactly what's going to happen with this piece. I'll probably end up going to color on this one because I like the way it turned out. Just something simple, something fast, something easy. I think that's pretty much all I'm going to do for you guys today. I just wanted to test out the camera to see how it rolled and to see if the microphone was okay. I do have an expensive microphone that I have yet to use. I've had it for a year, and I haven't even used it. So hopefully I'll be able to plug it into this camera and use it a little bit more going forward. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I know it's been hard getting videos out because I've had so much work. But I really appreciate those who have stuck with me through the ups and downs. Moving and getting new jobs and all that. So here's the eraser that I use, just like a gum eraser, a black gum eraser. and I can go in and on this Bristol board, see it erases really nice. Now I don't want to get rid of all the lines because I really like having that line work underneath. It gives it some life. You know? So, that's the warm-up for today, guys. I really appreciate you visiting. Like and subscribe, and please share. Would it be incredible if one day I was able to use the channel as some type of stream of revenue and you know, be able to do the videos even every day with like a morning warm-up? You know, that'd be fantastic. Thank you, guys, and we will see you next time. Bye.